Welcome back to this Guild Wars Let's Play. You're Sambo and Seraphis heals a lot. Oh my lord, what a name. And once again we're joined by the vivacious, the outrageous, the wonderful Regina Lacerda. How are you this evening?
I'm very well this evening, Sam. How are you going?
I'm very well too. You know, it's true when I say you're the outrageous, just for those of you who are watching from home. Just to give an example to our viewers, can I just ask a very simple question? Reggie, what colour is your hair today?
My character? You mean my hair?
I mean your in real life, very real hair on your very real head. What colour is it? Go on. What colour?
Okay, wow. Real life. There's blue, purple, pink, and brown.
Did you hear that, folks?
Going in that order from front to back.
Not only is it one colour, there are four, okay, so there you go. I'm just justifying when I said outrageous. There you go. You got some sort of idea of what I'm up against every single time we do one of these episodes. Oh, take pity on my soul. Anyway, let's get...
people have blue hair friends?
I don't have... Well, actually, I've got a couple of friends with coloured hair, but normally it's to cover over greys or something like that, and it's normally a boring brown. We don't have every colour of the rainbow in it. But that is you.
I haven't got green.
Oh, you don't have green. Oh, excuse me. All right.
No, they're picking it off the market.
So there you go, folks. Actually, her character in this game is more subdued than she is in real life. Just trying to give you some idea of what we're up against here. Anyhow, let's rip straight into it, folks. A couple of things just wanted to cover off quickly before we head out into the world, which, if you were following us in our previous episode, you'll know is an instance that's going to be created just for the two of us. Take a look at my mini-map. Now, remembering too, there's a mini-map in the top right here, and by the way, lovely dance moves you've got going on there. Hang on, let me join you. Yes, hello to you. And oh, look, it looks like I'm going to be doing some Tai Chi. Oh, that's an interesting dance move.
Far more dignified.
Well, yeah, again, art imitates life. Now, what was I saying? Oh yes, now we have over the top left my mission map. Now notice that there's a marker with an arrow on it. That's clearly where I am, and you'll see as I spin my character around, that marker moves, so it shows what direction I am on a static mission map. Versus, take a look at the top right and you'll see the mini-map, or the radar as it's called in the game. You'll see that spins around and the world moves around us. So, you know, you can have either or both of those up. I know, I think you, Reggie, you don't use the mission map, do you?
Not really, no. So it sort of takes up too much of my screen.
Yeah, well, there you go. And that's the great thing about Guild Wars is the UI is totally customable and you can build it out just to suit your own particular style, and that's great. But what you want to take note of is, notice there's a green star, like a green asterisk. I'm hovering over it there, but you may not be able to see it too well on the YouTube video, but that is indicating where we need to go for our current mission. Now, I can't show you it moving around right now because we've only got one mission in our log, but if we had different missions in here, each time I clicked on it, this green arrow would update, or rather the green asterisk would update and show us where we need to head. So you're never going to get lost, and also it appears on the mini-map. Now you're definitely not going to be able to see that on the YouTube video, but there is a flashing green blob on the radar, and like I said, that moves around as I move my camera around. So always very easy to tell where you need to go. Now, speaking of where we need to go, I think, are we all set to head out into the big wide open world? I think we are.
I believe we are.
Alright, so we're going to do the same thing as, just in case you forgot last time, we're going to select Reggie in the party list, and I'm going to hit spacebar. And you know what? That means I don't have to do a damn thing. Reggie's going to do all the running, and I'm on auto-follow. So it is the equivalent of an auto-follow in WoW, and once again, because she's gone through the gate out into the instance world that we're now out in, I follow her through automatically no matter where I am because we're in a party. So here we are, this world, which is large. You can see there's a lot of it there on the map. There are no other players out here. It's just Reggie and myself. Although I'm sure she'd prefer that it was otherwise. It's just the two of us and a whole bunch of angry mobs. So like I said earlier, that's great because we're not going to get annoyed by other players. So I'm going to look at my quest log, Reggie. I have to go and see Siglo the monk. Now I can see him off in the distance there, not only because he's got a great big green arrow above his head indicating that there's a quest turn in, but I can obviously see his name. I can hover over that, and in a minute I'm going to click on it and I'll automatically run to him. Where is your person going to be?
Well, I have to see Artemis the Ranger, who by luck is actually standing next to your monk.
Okay, so the game has been really clever, and it's populated the world with the 2 people we need to see in terms of our class trainers. So that's really smart. So I'm going to click on the name of it there, and Reggie's obviously going to go off and see her person. I'm going to get 250 XP there, lovely. And look at this, Siglo the monk. There's a little girl named Gwen. Now, don't worry, folks, we're not going to go through reading every single quest in the game because that would bore you to tears and Reggie would up and leave on me. But what we are going to do is make note of Gwen, because she is an important character in the storyline for Guild Wars. So in this case, there's a little girl named Gwen who I'm worried about. She seems to have wandered across the river, and I'm sure she won't make it back through all those Scale without some help. Please go lead her back here to safety. So obviously it's an escort quest, but just in case you're wondering what Scale is one of the mobs, the enemies in the game. There's Scale, there's Char, there's all sorts of names that you're probably not used to from other fantasy games. But the big thing here, and we're going to ask Reggie what she gets. You can see here, reward, 500 XP, but I get 2 spells, Healing Breeze and Banish. So you can probably thinking to yourself, hang on a minute, Sambo, you're about to go off and try and do an escort quest. You've got no skills on your bar. Let's click I'll go get her. Let's have a look at the K window. Still no skills. It's completely empty. What the hell's going on? Well, we'll see in a moment. But Reggie, what do you get as a reward?
Well, I've actually got a different quest. I don't have to find Gwen.
Okay.
But I have a quest, it looks like in the similar area, because I actually have to slay some Scale and the Scale Queen.
Ah, wow. Okay, so that's interesting. We do have different objectives. So, all right, on my map, now I'm just going to hit the M key here. There you go. It brings up my map. Hopefully you'll be able to see that on the YouTube video. You can see where we are. That's us just under the Ascalon City marker there. And down to the south you'll see there's a nice big green Asterix. That there is where my quest is. So yeah, Reggie, my quest is just south of us across the river. Where's yours?
My quest is south of us, just across the river.
Beautiful. So we're probably going to be in the same area. And one more thing to note, folks, as my frame rate starts playing up, oh, it's coming back. We may have to take a pause there in a minute. We'll see. Notice on my radar, there's a green arrow pip at the edge of the radar. And as I spin around, you'll see that it moves, always pointing in the direction that the current quest is in. And the reason it's a pip at the moment is because the objective is outside of the range of my radar. So all it's doing is telling us the direction that we need to head in. When we get closer to our objective, it's actually going to show up as an asterisk on the map. Now, before we run off, Reggie, I'm just going to make sure that we're not getting any glitchiness, and I am for some reason. I'm wondering if I'm running out of hard drive space. What we might do is just take a quick pause, folks. We'll be back as I go and fix up my technical issue, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Sorry about that, folks. Had a bit of a technical issue there. May get a couple of hiccups and stutters, but we'll carry on regardless. Alright, so we need to be heading in the direction of the green pip. That's what we were talking about. And sounds like Reggie does too. So onwards and upwards, I say. I'm the squishy healer, you're the big brutish ranger, so you can go ahead. One thing actually before we head off though is you'll notice that once we get out into these instanced areas, we're actually displaying our weapons, and they don't show when you're in a town. So there we can see Reggie's lovely double hewn bow and my super sparkly, well, what is it? Let's hover over it. It's a starter holy rod. So you don't get to see them, and believe me, there's some beautiful weapon models in the game.
Fairy wand.
It is my magic fairy wand, and they get magical and more fairier. The further on you go into the game, they really look special, but it's a bit hard to see them in a town or outpost unless you bring up your inventory screen. So they do appear when you get out in the game. But I think everyone would agree that it just looks beautiful out here. I love the look of this game, Reggie. I really do. I think it's aged well over time. Wouldn't you agree?
I do agree. It's put up to the test, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and one more thing just before we head off. You'll notice, folks, that there's some signposts around. They're really handy to get a hold of because, let me just move out here a little bit. For example, you see that one there says Ascalon City. If we were way off in the distance, once again, remember you can hold down your Alt key and any signposts or NPCs will actually show up. You can see there as I'm toggling between them. So because we can auto run to objects, I could select that Ascalon City signpost and automatically run towards it, knowing that I'm heading in the right direction from afar. So it's good to remember that those posts are really handy. And we're getting lag again. Let's go onwards and upwards. We'll carry on. If it gets much worse, we may have to have another pause. We'll see what happens. Now off in the distance there, you'll be able to see some mobs. We're obviously going to avoid them, but they show up on the minimap as red dots, which hopefully you can see. And as you can also see, I'm going to zoom in here onto the mission map. You'll see that as we move...
We're at a cliff.
Oops, we've hit a cliff, actually, and that's a good thing to talk about very quickly too. Notice on the mission map, there's red dots which indicate the trail that we've been, so you're never going to get lost. But one thing about Guild Wars is, as you'll see here, I'm running over the edge. I can't actually fall off the edges, so it's nice and safe and good to know. Now, as we look out into the world, we can't actually see Reggie too well. I don't know where she is. Well, all I need to do is select her on my party list and hit spacebar, and I'm automatically going to lag, good lord, run towards her, and there she is. So it's a really handy feature, that. You know what, we're going to have to take another pause here. I'm very sorry. And we're back, folks. Sorry about that, having a couple of technical issues. Seems to have sorted itself out now. Right, where were we? I think, Reggie, we're on your quest. You're after the Scale Queen, which means that we're going to talk about targeting. So, in this game, there's a number of ways to target. Obviously, you can click on the mob itself, which is one way of doing it. Now, isn't there another way of cycling through targets? You know, it's been so long, Reggie, I can't remember it. What is it, tab? Yeah, tab seems to work.
There is actually, yeah, tab does work, and there's an easier way to lock onto the closest of the targets, and that's actually just pressing the C.
Oh, that's right. That's bringing back all sorts
C
of memories.
Closest.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. And I do remember that.
And then use tab to...
Yep. So what happens, folks, is remembering that the space bar is your use key. Now, in this case, if I was to use, because we don't have any skills, remember though, if I hit the inventory here, we do have a starter holy rod, and Regina there is sporting her lovely bow. If we have an enemy targeted, which you can see there, and by the way, on your radar, when you have a mob targeted, it has a yellow outline around the red dot, so you know which one you've got targeted. But because we've actually got weapons, even though we don't have skills, if we hit the spacebar now, we would actually start blasting them at range. I would start probably shooting magic out of my staff, and as you can see there, look at that, Reggie is firing arrows. So, the other great thing about this game, if I hover over this, you'll notice that there's been loot dropped, and obviously there's big sparklies like any other MMO, but notice what it says down the bottom there, which is assigned to Seraphis Heals. Ugh. You know, I'm never going to get used to that name, Reggie. I'm going to hate you forever for that. It's horrible.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, you're loving it, aren't you? Anyway, it says assigned to Seraphis Heals a lot. If that drop was assigned to Reggie, obviously it would say assigned to Regina Lacerda. So you always know who it belongs to. And there you go, you can see it actually appear in my inventory automatically. So the easy way...
It makes perfect sense for a bow to be dropped for a monk.
Of course, especially when
there is a ranger next... Yeah,
exactly. So that didn't work out too well, unfortunately. Never mind. And we're getting lag again. Goodness gracious. Maybe it's the way I'm holding my mouth. Who knows? Anyway, once again, to repeat the easy process in terms of being able to select something and then attack it automatically is just to literally hit your C key, which will automatically select, and you saw it switch targets there, automatically select the nearest target and then hit space, and you'll see there that I'm casting my little holy rod, and there's a scale fin there which has again been assigned to me. Once again, I can just literally click on that and it will automatically run me towards that and pick it up. So I don't actually have to do any running. I can play this entire game with my mouse. So let's hit C again. It's chosen that one over there. Now, this is another interesting thing about Guild Wars. Notice on my radar, the mob that's highlighted is outside of the radius of my spell. So in other words, I'm too far away in order to be able to attack it. The range of my spells isn't great enough. Because I've got it targeted, once again, just by hitting C, all I have to do is hit space, and in a moment you'll see what will happen is my character will automatically run into range and then begin attacking. So here we go, and I'm sure Reggie's probably going to do the same thing. Hit the space bar, off we run. Look at that, perfect synchronization. And then we're
actually my quest kill.
Oh, is it? Was
Yes.
that the Scale Queen?
Done.
Oh, look at that. Yes,
That was
well,
indeed.
I knew that, Reggie. I honestly knew that. Anyway,
Thanks for your help.
yeah, no problem. I know you couldn't have done it without me. If we hit C once again, as you can tell, I can't even see a mob around. It just literally isn't one. But if you get used to this C spacebar mechanism, hit C, hit space. Now, I'm not going to run all the way, but you can see, obviously, there's a mob over in that direction because she starts running over there. So it's just fantastic. Now, where do I need to go? I've got a mark over here somewhere. Are we ready to do my quest?
Absolutely.
Pick me. And here she is, the world famous in Guild Wars, Gwen. So this is someone that you do need to pay attention to if you are playing the game. So we're just going to click on her. We got a little sound there saying that the quest had been updated, and what that means is that we can actually hit L and it says they're completed. Now notice that as the objectives change in your quest log, they actually get crossed out. So that's saying go southwest up the road until you find Scale, cross the river and find the missing girl Gwen. Now quite clearly we've done that. So what it's done is it's put a line through all of that and then given us the next step of the quest, which is lead Gwen back to Siglo the monk. Now, Reggie, I imagine that your quests, even though it's got different wording, yours will be the same. It's got the first objective crossed out and now you're seeing what you need to do.
Indeed it has. I've got to return to Artemis the Ranger for my reward.
Alright, so looks like we're heading back because we've got Gwen in tow. We've killed the Scale Queen. I'm going to select Reggie in my party list. I'm going to hit spacebar. And there you go. She's running away and I'm auto following. I can still pan around the camera. Gwen is following us in the background there. And all is good in the world. I hit C. I don't have to even be looking in the right direction. Hit spacebar. And I'm automatically going to target the nearest mob and start lagging in this case. But start attacking it. Let's try that again. We'll hit C, hit spacebar, and there we go. Now, as you can see, this water wand here is actually assigned to Regina, so only she can pick that up. There's a longbow, and a longbow again, and some gold, which both of us can pick up. Now, that's really crazy because you got some kind of wand, and I got bows. Isn't it the exact opposite of what each other needs?
You'd think so, but at least by you picking up the gold, you were kind enough to give some to me.
Right, so that happens automatically, doesn't it?
That does indeed. If you're a part of a party, anyone who collects gold automatically shares it with everyone else.
And look at that, we've proven her right. She's not lying to us, folks, because right there in the chat list it does say that your party shares 3 gold, so that's good to know. Now, here's something we can try, seeing as we're here, and seeing as we've got items that perhaps each other would want. Just like any other MMO, we can actually trade in the game. So I've just selected Reggie there, and right up beside her name at the top center of the screen is the trade button. I'm going to click that, and it's very easy to follow. Basically, you drag an item into that list there, and that becomes my offer, and I'm going to say submit offer. And by the way, I could also add some money, so there we go, submit offer. Did you get something pop up at your end there?
I have indeed. I've been offered a longbow.
There
That'd
you
be
go.
nice. How would you like a water wand in return?
I would, and it says there
There we
that
go.
Reggie...
I'll submit offer for that.
There you go. So it appears up the top there, and we can see that that's actually a wand that is blue. So actually I'm coming out better in this deal, sorry about that. Compared to my starter holy rod, which is white or uncommon, I can still go in and change the offer if I like, but for now we're going to accept it. And there you go. I now have a water wand, which is totally different to my starter holy rod. One other thing to notice, folk, is you'll see that it's got the word unidentified below it. We can't do anything about that at the moment, but what it means is that there are some stats there. At the moment it's just doing cold damage, between 4 and 6 cold damage. If we were to identify that item, it would reveal some special extra stat on there. Right now we don't have the ability to identify things, do we? I think we have to purchase identification kits. Is that right, Reggie?
Yeah, there is identification kits that are available to purchase from town merchants.
Alright, so that's where we need to get them later. In the meantime, let's head back and hand these puppies in. Oh, and a bit of lag.
You did have the gold to be able to buy those things as well.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't got much gold at the moment. So once again, folks, you can see off in the distance there, Siglo the monk. It's where I need to go. I can just literally click on him. Don't have to navigate my way there at all. Nice and easy. And it automatically brings it up. And of course, this is a big moment for both Reggie and myself because we are going to learn our first spell. So there we go. We've got 500 XP and automatically appearing on our hotbars. I'm sure both Reggie and I have the same thing going on. We've got 2 new spells. So let's quickly cover them off before we finish off this episode. And as you can see, there's now an NPC wandering around with a big... Well, in fact, there's lots of NPCs wandering around with quests for us. So there's going to be lots to do in our next episode. But I have a healing breeze. There's 3 numbers on it. There's a 10, there's a 1, and there's a 2. The 10 is next to a blue dot. That tells me that this will cost 10 energy to cast out of my pool of 30. Bless you.
You nearly said mana.
Oh, what? I nearly said mana. Oh, did I? Did I actually say it?
I heard an M. I heard an M.
Oh, okay.
You didn't say it, but you nearly said it.
There you go, folks. Skillfully avoided owing Reggie a car. Good Lord, this is going to come back and haunt me. I know it. It says 10 energy, Sambo. 10 energy out of my pool of 30, so I know that that's going to cost 10. It says there 1 next to a little clock symbol, if you can't quite see that on the YouTube video. 1 is how long it takes to cast. That is its cast time. And then there's the number 2, which is next to a sort of recycle looking arrow. That is its cooldown. In other words, this spell costs 10 energy, it has a 1 second cast time, and it takes 2 seconds to cool down. So what we're going to do is just prove that to you, but I'm going to select Reggie, and we're going to cast this spell on her either by clicking on the icon in my toolbar down the bottom there, or by hitting the 1 key. There we go, and there it is. So not only can you see the lovely effect on Reggie, but you'll notice if I cast it again, you'll see the cooldown appear. You see the icon's gone black, and then it's slowly winding back over that 2 seconds, so you know it's available again. Now the other great thing to note about Guild Wars is it's auto-facing. So with all due respect, Reggie, I'm going to face away from you, and we'll spin the camera around. There you go. So even though I'm totally facing in the opposite direction that Reggie is, looking lovely in the background there amongst the flowers, I've got her selected. I'm going to hit 1 and watch what happens. My character automatically turns around and heals. So there is no facing issues in this game. It's just really easy, really simple, and they just wanted to make it easy to be able to play in a group. We're getting all sorts of awful lag again. And then finally, my banish spell there, which only costs 5, but it has a 10-second cooldown, and that makes a foe take 20 holy damage. So that's that's an offensive spell there. And you'll notice also that they have attributes. The first attribute there for my cleansing spell or my healing spell is a healing prayer, and if we look at my banish spell, that's a smiting prayer, and we'll get into that in a minute. Now, what are your spells that you've got given straight off the bat, by the way?
I've been given Power Shot, which of course is a bow attack,
right.
And it shoots 25 damage, so it's sort of a higher damage than I would be normally giving with a normal
an auto attack, right?
Yeah. That one takes 10 energy, so even though it's not specifically a spell, it still takes energy.
Right.
And the other one I have is called Troll Ungent.
Right.
It's actually attributed to a wilderness survival skill.
So what is that? Is that some kind of debuff or something?
It's for 13 seconds I gain +3 health regeneration, so my health would regenerate faster than normal.
Wow. Okay, that's cool. So it sounds like we've both got ourselves an offensive spell and some kind of support spell or healing spell, which is very handy. Now, what you'll notice here before we finish off this episode, both Reggie and I'll have a very similar screen but some different attributes. If you hit K, you'll notice here that it says attributes, and I have 4 of them. I've got healing prayers, smiting prayers, protection prayers, and divine favor. And you'll notice that there's a little arrow and a number next to them. These are like talents in WoW. This is where we get to build our character and customize it and decide what sort of specialty we want to go into. Below that we have a couple of trees that we can expand, and you'll notice that my healing breeze, which is my spell number 1 here, the healing breeze is categorized under healing prayers. So what that means is if I was to increase this attribute here, then it would make all healing prayers spells more potent. So at the moment I've got no skill points to spend in there, but if I did, I could make that, instead of 0, I could make it 1, and it would tell me that it would actually increase for example, in this case, the heal says that it's going to give +4 to health regeneration. If I increased the attributes by 1, it might go up to something like +5. And when you do get to the attributes screen later on, which we will, you can actually see the icons here which display the amount of the value of your spell. They will actually update in real time. So that's handy. And of course my smiting prayers here, banish, it says that the target foe takes 20 holy damage. If I was to increase my smiting prayer attributes here, then that banish would actually increase in terms of its holy damage again in real time. So it's really, really handy. And we will end up with a great big long list of skills here. You know, Reggie, I think there's something like over 1,000 skills in this game. I'm 100% sure of that. Is that right?
That is a very big number.
No, I know it is a big number.
I have no idea how many.
Yeah, I honestly think there are, though. I really do, because I know just with some of the packs you can buy from the Guild Wars store alone, they're like 500 of them in a pack. So there's going to be lots and lots of playing.
Wow.
So what were your 2 attributes that you have your skills in at the moment?
Okay, at the moment I've got the power shot, which is under marksmanship, and
right,
the troll unguent, which is under wilderness survival. I have the 2 other attributes. I have beast mastery,
right,
and expertise.
Okay, so beast mastery, that's an interesting one, obviously alluding to the fact that some point in the future you're going to be able to have a pet, no doubt.
Well, I'm a bit of a hippie and like to have, animals and wildlife around me, obviously.
And flowers in your hair. Quite clearly that's the case.
Of course.
Once again, a case of art imitating life. So there you have it, folks. I think that's probably a good time to end off this particular episode. We've learnt a bit about, again, the K screen there, getting our skill. And look at that, she's given us a lovely bow. Why, thank you very much. Let's see if we can do that in return. What's my bow going to look like for this monk? Oh, yes, it's very proper. We've learned about the K screen, about getting our skills. We'll learn lots more about them as we move forward, because there's lots to the skills in this game. It's certainly the centerpiece of it. And I'm sure we'll cover that off as we learn more, doing more quests in this area. So we'll save that till next time. In the meantime, it's me, Sambo, it's Cerevis, it's Reggie, and it's her wonderful character, Regina Lacerda, saying thank you very much for watching. Take care. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you again. Bye-bye.